So for the back side of worksheet 1.3, it's kind of like we're doing the 1.3b kind of notes because we're on the back side of the worksheet. You have to be aware that there are some trick questions mixed in on this worksheet. And the first thing we need to write down for an answer to a trick question is there's the possibility that there will be no solution. What happens if you can't solve a problem? I can't figure out what that letter is. I can't figure out what that variable is. There is a possibility to write no solution. It's when there is no answer. When there's no answer, we can write down no solution. There's a symbol for that. Here is the symbol. I'm going to write symbol over here. The symbol for no solution is a 0 with a line that goes through the 0. If you ever write this on a test and I see it, I'm going to go, oh, they're telling me that it's no solution. I will know what it means because I speak math. And because you're in Math 1 and I've taught it to you, you can use it too. Anytime I show you a symbol, feel free to use it on your quizzes, tests, and or homework. Okay? Sometimes you're going to get no solution when examples. Here are some examples for no solution. If you're ever working on a problem and you get something like this, 2 is equal to 0. That is no solution. Why is 2 equals 0 no solution? Because will 2 ever be equal to 0? Are these the same things as each other? If something seems wrong, you've either made a mistake or it's no solution. If you ever get 5 is equal to 7, that should be like a, no it's not, Mr. Paramo. Exactly. It is no solution. If you ever get something like this, 2x plus 3 equals 2x plus 5. That is, think about it. These two things are the same thing. If you were to subtract 2x from this side, let's write subtract 2x, what do you get? No, you don't get 0. Oh, you get 0 here, yes. Yes, I'm sorry. Then what do I get? 3 equals 5. And what does that mean? Doesn't mean 0. It means no solution because 3 doesn't equal 5. 5 equals 5. 3 equals 3. 3 does not equal 5. 3 will never equal 5. That's an impossibility. This means it's impossible, that there's no way you can find an answer for that particular problem. Does it make sense? Now I'm going to give you a warning. I'm going to put it off to the side where it says questions. These will be mixed in. These will be mixed in on the quizzes and test. These will be mixed in on the quizzes and test. What that means is this: you're going to be doing problems on the test and you're going to be finding like, oh, x is equal to 2 and this x is equal to positive 13, this x is equal to negative 14, and then there's going to be one where it's a 5 is equal to 7, and you're supposed to know when that 1 is thrown in there that it is no solution. That is a possibility. You should always kind of double check that you've done the math right, because you might have made a mistake. Maybe you forgot to do the opposite of something. But you should always, this is a possibility. There's another possibility as well. It's called an identity. Let me move this up a little bit. It means there are an infinite number of solutions. Infinite solutions. It also means they're the same equations. Let me give you a couple of examples. If you ever get 0 equals 0, kind of different than up here. This was 2 equals 0. This is something that doesn't make sense, no solution. If you ever get 0 equals 0, it is an identity. If you ever get 5 is equal to 5, it is an identity.
Is there a symbol for it?
There's not really one for identity. That's why I'm not going to write that down. There is something for how many solutions are there, or there's all real numbers, so there's a symbol for that, but I'm not for identity by itself, not that I'm aware of. I thought about it. Here's another example. 2x plus 3 equals 2x plus 3. Is this equation the same as that equation?
Yes.
It's an identity. A lot of times they're going to disguise that it is an identity. I'll give you one more example. 4 parenthesis x plus 2 equals 2 parenthesis 2x plus 4. You don't see it right away, but if you were to distribute to both of these things and distribute to both of these things, you might discover something. Natalie, help me distribute these on the left side. What does that make?
4.
Yep. Thank you, Natalie. Colby, can you help me distribute on the right-hand side? What does that make?
4 plus 3.
Wonderful. Christina, what does this mean? It's an identity. Does that make sense? Okay. Just like the no solutions, these will be mixed in on the quizzes and tests. They're the trick questions. Don't let them trick you. If you ever get something like this, you got to know the difference. Oh, wait, I got 0 equals 0. Well, that's an identity. Oh, I got 0 equals 2. Wait, that's no solution. You have to know the difference between those two things. Usually this happens when the variables cancel out. I'll give you another example. Let's look at number 13. Scoot this up a little bit. 6 4z plus 2 equals 3 8z plus 4. Let me ask Cece for some help. Cece, what would you do first on this left side?
Distribute.
Like this? What do you get when you distribute?
24z plus 12.
I agree with you. Chase, what would you do on the other side of the equal sign?
We'll put 3 in both of them.
Use the fancy word, please.
Distribute.
Wonderful. And what do you get when you distribute the 3?
8, 24z.
I agree. And?
4, 12.
So what do you want me to write? What should I write? We're close. We're getting closer. I don't want to just write 12.
Oh,
Plus sign. Thank you. Plus 12. But don't forget, these are separated by a plus sign. They're two different terms. So this multiplies to that, and then this multiplies to the other one. So I have to separate them by plus signs and minus signs as well. Good. Now I could keep going. But at this point, I want you to recognize something. Look at it. Look at it. Kyler, look at it and tell me, what does it mean? How come? As soon as you know, stop and write identity, because they're the same thing as Kyler said. I need to show you another example. This will be like number 17. Yeah, go ahead. If you are not good with decimals, there are a few decimals and fractions here on this particular worksheet. So on the back side, once again, I recommend you borrowing a calculator if you don't have one, or having a calculator out to do a lot of these problems. Okay, so let's, I haven't called on Tyler yet today. Tyler, what's the first thing you would do in this problem? Or try to do?
Combine like terms.
Can you combine any like terms?
No.
Okay. So the second thing we try to do, Miss White.
Distribute.
Can we distribute anything, Miss White? Nope. So then we go to the third thing we should try to do, which is what Miss Mick Pasquale? How do you say it? Pasquale. Thank you.
The variables on the same side as the equal sign.
Okay, can we do that?
Yeah.
Which one would you move?
5.5.
Are these variables?
No. Move to B.
We can move the 2b this way. If I move the 2b this way, I'm going to make negative 2b and a negative 2b. Will my b's be positive or negative? I recommend always try to get a positive b value, just because you're less likely to make a mistake on negatives than positive. So instead of moving the 2b, let's move the 3b instead. It's technically smaller anyways because it's on the left side, negative 3b. Let me ask Riley. Riley, if this is a negative 3b, what's the opposite of that? And so I'm going to write what you just said, positive 3b. And whatever I do to one side, here's the star again. I have to do to the other, positive 3b. That lets me know what I'm doing with the 3b. That's why I put the plus sign there. That's why I was specific earlier with Chase. What are we doing? Oh, we're adding the 12. Put the plus sign there so you know what to do. Negative 3b, positive 3. You have to have one that's a negative, one that's a positive for it to cancel out. Earlier as I walked by, I saw two different students have negative 3b, negative 3b. No, wait, those are the same sign. It has to be one positive, one negative for it to cancel out. Let me write that down. Has to have a positive and a negative to cancel out. That's when I'm adding and subtracting, right? And then I get 5.5. Negative and positive makes 0. 5b minus 6.25. Called on everybody there. Oh, I haven't called on this Mark. Mark Soy Samunta. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Woo! I got lucky. What would you move next? Okay. What do we want to get by itself is the b. I would get rid of any addition and subtraction. Can you get rid of this minus 6.25? What's the opposite of that?
Adding it.
So what do you want me to write?
6.25.
Okay, let's put that plus sign in front of it. Plus 6.25. I'll put a little star here. That means something. What does that mean? What are we supposed to do?
What do you do to that side? You have to do it on the other.
Good. This is where I personally go over here and bring out my calculator. And these calculators, they do something. 5.5 plus 6.25. They give the answer as a fraction. Don't freak out if that happens. This will help you later on when we're graphing slopes and stuff. But for right now, if you want to know what this is as a decimal, you have to switch it to a decimal, and there's a button for that right here where it's standard decimal. So if I press it, I can switch between fractions and decimals by pressing the standard to decimal button, which means it's 11.75. I was wondering that. Positive, negative cancels out. Almost done. I almost have the b by itself, but there's something in front of it that I need to move. Ray, what am I going to do next? Or last?
Divide by both sides by 5.
I agree. I'm going to put a little star because whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. I already have the 11.75 in there. All I have to do is press divided by 5. Oh no, it gave it to me as a fraction. You could actually write that down if you wanted to. I'll accept it. But if you want to know what it is as a decimal, it's 2.35. Last example. This is like number 22. Number 22 says 6 times the sum of a number and 3 is 12 less than 12 times the number. And it says some other things, but I need to walk you through how I do these problems. Because I'm not afraid of word problems. I hope you aren't either. Certain word problems I will avoid, like the front two. I avoided because the answers really didn't make sense on number 7, and number 8 was way too easy.
And why did you give us it?
Because
I love easy.
didn't like it.
Easy peasy, lemon easy.
The first thing we have to do is turn this from words into a problem. So here you go. When I read this word, 6, then I write down something. I'm hoping you know what I'm going to write down. What do I write down for 6? I write 6. When it says times, I could use a multiplication symbol, but we are in high school now. So instead of multiplying, instead of putting dots, usually we'll use parentheses. We're going to have to do 6 times something. 6 multiplied by something. What am I multiplying? The sum. Do you know what the sum means?
Addition.
I'm going to be adding some things. 6 times adding a number and 3. I'm going to circle number and 3. Literally, this is what I do. I actually start circling things, underlining things. Okay, 6 times, 6 parenthesis, the sum. Oh, I need to add something, so I'm going to put a plus sign right here. 6 times a sum of, that means 2 things, a number and 3. I don't know what that number is. The number is going to represent a variable. It's an unknown number. Unknown. So I'm going to put an N. A number and 3. 6 times the sum of a number and 3. That's a long thing. So I'm going to cross all this off. I've done all the part right there. 6 times the sum of a number and 3. It's there. 6 times the quantity of n plus 3. That's what I just did. Is means something. Is means what?
Equals.
Good. Always. Or at least almost always. 12 less than. Now I'm going to circle all that. I hope you know what less than means, or 12 less than. When you see less than, I'm going to put an arrow to it, means subtracted after. When you see the word than, it's going to mean after. 12 subtracted after. That's telling you you're going to have to subtract 12 from something first. 12 less than. 12 subtracted after 12 times the number. 12 times, what's the number again? We already wrote that down. So I'm going to write 12 times 12n. And here's my equation. 12n minus 12. And then from here, we start, bam, knocking it out. Presley, I haven't asked you a question. What would you do next?
Combine it or subtract.
Can you put the 12n together and then minus 12?
No.
Good. Can I put the n together with a 3?
No.
Good. So we can't combine like terms. Rachel, what do we do next?
You distribute the 6 to the n of 3.
And what do you get?
6n plus 18.
Good. What else do I write in this line besides that?
Equal sign. And then bring down the 12n minus 12.
I agree. Thank you. Michaela Knowles, I haven't called on you yet. What would you do next?
I would subtract 6 on both sides.
Like that?
Yeah.
And what do you get?
You get 18 equals
I agree. Is that Cade? Yes? Making sure. Cade, what would you do next?
Subtract the 12 and add the 12 on both
Ooh, good. Because if you subtracted 12, is that a positive and a negative? No. So we got to do something different. What should we do?
sides.
And what am I doing over here?
Adding on both sides.
Thank you. Whatever we do on one side, we do to the other. Tell me what you get, Cade.
30 equals 16.
Jaden? Jada. Okay, making sure.
Divide 6 times, or divide 30, divide by 6.
And what is n equal to, Jada? Jaden? 5. Are we done? Circle it.